Hey there, I'm Ellen Cahill, and I am going to present to you Book Creator, an e-book publishing tool that you can create a digital library for your students, and also show you some features on how students can create and even collaborate with one another in real time. This is part of the Ohio EdTech series, and I have a presentation that I would like to share with you that has a lot of rich hyperlinks that'll take you some different templates that I've kind of created, and you'll have access to my library. And so hopefully those will provide you with some material for you to use either in Google Classrooms or in another way to kind of help connect with your students during this upcoming few weeks here. So again, I am one of the instructional consultants with WOSU Classroom, and I have provided you my email. So in case you have any questions or you'd like to reach out in some way, I'm always here. And also too, I'm providing just for you an instance on when you see things that are underlined in this presentation, that means it is hyperlinked. And so it will jump you into the web with a different resource. And Book Creator has worked with a lot of other ed tech companies to kind of raise their game to help us be more effective in delivering learning at home platforms. And so this will tell you a little bit more about what they're doing. They're adding some features to their free version of this application that will really promote some real-time collaboration, which is pretty exciting. So today what I'm going to do is I am going to give you some ways in which book publishing fits into the writing process. I think it's a fun tool. There's a lot of things to kind of play around with, so certainly want to kind of play in the sandbox, so to speak. But as we really want to kind of reach out to students to be better writers, it really needs to fit into that writing process. And so I have provided some templates here within this slide presentation that include graphic organizers that show you it's not just about writing in Book Creator and creating an ebook. It really is about that process of writing to really tell and shape a story or give some clear and credible evidence or information. So there's just tons of ways to use this. So we'll do some navigation tools inside of Book Creator where you'll be looking at your library and how you share that with students. And then also, like I've said, there'll be some templates here. So Book Creator is an app, and it's an app that you will download. You can use it on iPads, you can use it on Chromebooks. It's really best in using it in the Chrome browser. So if you are able to open up the website and go into the Chrome browser, you have a lot of tools, and that's how they get into your shared library. If you are accessing Book Creator from an iPad, they don't have access to your library, but you could share and make books and either send that your books that you're creating into your Google Classroom or a website or something like that. It's just that you can't directly share things with them in a shared library when it's on an iPad. But anyway, it's a great way to be authors. And when I was teaching and working with others as a coach, publishing really is meant to be fun. And so Book Creator just gives an incredible array of tools so that when you are facing students that are suffering from a writer's block going, I don't know what to write about, or on the opposite end, you have kids who are just kind of going through the formula of writing and really have nothing to say or basically don't realize that really it's something about thinking and writing. Book Creator is a great tool to kind of help bring those students into active engagement. So first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set up an account with Book Creator. And for those of you who like to have a step-by-step graphics and written directions, I have included here in this hyperlink a resource that you can follow, you can print off, and it'll take you pretty much through all the steps I'm going to show today. But the first thing you want to do to set up an account is you're going to want to go to Book Creator, and that's bookcreator.com. So you can open up your Chrome browser, open up a tab, and go to Book Creator. And in that, you are going to go ahead and you're going to go to the teacher sign in. So let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to pop out of my presentation and I am going to move my toolbar and I am going to go right here, open up. You can see I'm in my Chrome. I'm going to open up my tab. I'm just going to type in Book Creator. It's going to go ahead and I go there a lot, so it's going to see me. And I'm going to go to sign in. And so when I go to sign in, you're going to see there's going to be a student sign in and a teacher sign in. Sign in with Google. You also can sign in with a 365, or you could sign in with a QR code. But you're going to want to make sure, and this is where it kind of gets confusing. If you click right away, you're signing in as a student and you're not going to be able to create a library. You're going to have to join a library. So when you give this link to students, this basically is helping them get to their right at the right. You're click right here. You're going to go to teacher sign in with Google. I'm going to sign in with this, and you can see that it's kind of come into my LNW OSU public library. So you are going to have a series of, and I'm going to go back to my presentation. You are going to have a series of dialog boxes that you are going to be answering to kind of set up your library. So go ahead through all of those. It'll ask you for your grade and what subjects. Make sure you allow it to happen. And then it's going to ask you for you to name your library. So name it whatever you want. And just remember, if you don't know, or just think about, if you don't know what to kind of put in there, I'll go through and we can edit all those settings and I'll show you how to do that once we kind of move along in here. But the first thing you're going to see when you get into it is you're going to see your teacher dashboard. And inside your teacher dashboard, you are going to see my libraries and libraries that have been shared with me. So students cannot create their own libraries, but certainly other teachers can, and I have. And so I want to welcome you into my library so that you can see some of the books that I have. You can see that with the free version, everyone gets their own private library, and you can tell that this is locked. And so this is kind of my own little sandbox where I'm kind of working on some different kind of projects that I can move my books back and forth between libraries. I can share my books with another library that I've joined. You can see this one that has the little globe there. Those are already books that are kind of public. And so those are the ones that I'm going to go ahead and share with you today. So how you will go ahead and look at joining or creating a library. When you go in, you're going to go ahead and create a library, and you are going to give your library a name. And you can go ahead and right now the two big things that you can kind of look at are allow image searching. So if you're all right with students looking for things on Google because it'll automatically take them to a Google search, go ahead and do that. And these ebooks are phenomenal because you're going to see all the different kinds of media students can add into their ebook. And then also to whether or not you want students to read each other's books. And so there'll be different books in the library. They'll have different author names in there. You'll see that. And so it's really a rich way to kind of create a sense of community. Now, like I was saying, is that at the top of the screen, you're going to see when you go into my library, you are going to find that you have this cog or this settings key. And when you expand that out, this is where you can kind of go ahead and make some changes if you want. And you probably would not want students to publish things online until you've taken a look at them. And so you can go ahead and publish those books when they're ready online. You could even then download them because in your free version, you get a total of 40 books free between your library and the shared library. When you go ahead and click on this edit settings, this is where you're going to really kind of take a look and go, do I want to set my library so that only people with a link can see them? Do I only want people with a password and a link? So you can even set a more secure on that, or allow my library to be discovered by other kind of schools. So again, that'll be in the toolbar that's up towards the top and on the right side. This is what it looks like when you get into your library. These are my books, and when you want to go ahead and invite somebody, just click on this. So I'm going to go ahead, and you are going to see my library, and I am going to invite you. And so what you'll want to do is you'll want to go and join a library. So let me show you how that looks. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go into here. You can see that this is where I can get those settings I showed you earlier. This is where I go, and I'll show that a little bit later, but this is where I went, and this is where I went to edit and do all those. And so if you want to rechange it, if you want to archive this library at some point, and so it basically just kind of keeps it into a cloud storage kind of thing, and then you can start new library so you have more books and things. That piece is there. But when I go over here and on my library here, what I want you to do is I want you to take this, join my library, and I want you to put the code, let me get 75TQJ, 75TQJ, and click on join library, and that will get you into my library so that you'll be able to see some books that I've created, and we'll get to go ahead and look at some of the tools you can use to create those. So I'm going to go back to my presentation here. How you will go ahead and have your students log in will be very similar to how you have logged in. You would most likely in Google Classroom go to your Google Classroom, add a discussion, have the students go put the link Book Creator. They'll have the students sign in. They'll sign in with their Google account, and they will put your shared library code in there, and they'll just go ahead and type that in. So that's how that would look. And so what I might do for you is I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of this. I'm going to escape. I'm going to take you how that would look. How would I get my students to join in? I'm going to go ahead and open up a new tab. I'm going to go to my waffle. I'm going to go down here to my Google Classroom. I'm going to go to my online learning designs, and you can see that I've gone ahead and I've added a new announcement. So I just went ahead, and this is what I did right here. I just went ahead, joined my Book Creator classroom, and use the code 75TQJ, and there the kids have it. Then they're in your library. So that'll be really easy peasy to kind of get students in. Let's say that some of your students are a little bit younger, or you don't have a Google Classroom, and if we ever get to a place where we get to see kids face to face, or maybe you print these off and send them to in a letter or into an email, where you copy this and send it into an email. Students can then just go ahead and put their Chromebook camera or their phone and go ahead and line it up to that QR code, and that will give them a way to go ahead and log in into your library. But how you get there is you go to your little icon. Probably it's an initial if you haven't put your picture on it yet. But you go to that icon, expand that, you click on QR logins, and then it will ask you to type the name, or you can copy and paste if you have this in another Google Doc or some kind of document, paste the student's name, one per line. And then what it'll do is you hit next and it will generate a code for each of your students. So you can see I have Bill in here and I can go ahead and print this. I could copy it into a Google Doc and that's how I could kind of send it. But that would be another way that you can invite students into your library. Once you have students or have authors in your library, you're going to be able to see where they are. So you can see that I'm in my Ellen WO issue where I have as a shared library. And you can see that I could add a co-teacher if I wanted to. So if you had a intervention specialist or an EL teacher, you could go ahead and add them in. But you'll also be able to see the other folks that are all your students who are in your library, and you can just double check and make sure that everyone that you wanted to see get in there are there. So I want to kind of show you, I've been talking a lot about this, but let me show you an example of an ebook. And if you want to go ahead and you have the Google Slides on your desktop, you can click this link and you can see this book. And when I click on my link here, this is a book I've created, and I want to just kind of show you just an overall and give you kind of the layout on all the things you can do for this. And so I'm working on a project with the National Veterans Memorial and Museum, and we are working with veterans 3-minute videos that they have recorded in the museum story booth. They're 3-minute videos, and they're all kind of like a momentous event or how they think about being a veteran for the United States. So this is something that I've kind of used to kind of launch the program. And so you can see that I have inserted a picture. I've laid a picture of the museum in here, and I've given my book a title. I click on this and you can see that in the read mode, it puts the 2 pages together. I have inserted different photographs that I have taken, and you can see these are in a panel. So this is what we call a comic view, and I'll show you how you can do that. And I've gone ahead and basically just kind of done a little bit of writing to kind of help get folks excited, to give them a little bit background knowledge on what's going on with this. So in looking at this, you can see that I have inserted pictures, and it's either pictures I have taken or pictures from the web. I have the ability to make text boxes, and I can edit all of the text. I can also include a video here. And so when I click on this, a video will pop up, and so kids can, just as they can hit a record of a picture, they can record and make their own small little video. And then there's also a way that when you go ahead and create a video, you can get a transcription of it, which is pretty good because we're really going to need to consider those ADA requirements here in the upcoming future. Also, too, students can add audio to it. So they can put their own voice. You could put your own voice into a template and give students kind of a direction on what to do with this. You can see here that with that little dialog box there, that shows that there's also a written transcription of what I have said. So again, you can kind of see I've got this layout here. I've added in another video. I've brought in a Google Map, so you can kind of go ahead and insert those kind of things in there. You can have it read, and so this has kind of a computerized voice that will go ahead and read it, and you could even have it translated into other languages. So with the settings, you can see that it's reading it to me, and it's being read in English. I can highlight words, have it play the multimedia, turn pages automatically. I can control the speed of it being read. I can also, if I want to change the voice, I have all these other languages, and so if I needed to change this probably into Spanish, would be a common language to have to do that, you could go ahead and make a Spanish version of your book. And so it automatically translates it. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an insight into the power of this app. So how I go ahead and do this is that when I go and add a new book, I will go ahead and I want to add a new book. When you do that, you have these options to create different books. Now, what the difference with this is just size. You have all the same tools, except when you are down in the comic version, that's where you add panels, and I'll show you the difference with that. The most important thing to remember is that you're going to have to manage your library. You only get 40 books, and so you can have students work in right now with the feature called Collaborate, so you could have more than one student assigned to a book if you had more than 40 students working in your library. You can also have some kids working with a book, and so if you had a class of, let's say, 25, 28, or 30, you could have students working in their own book, and you could go ahead and combine them all into one book, and I'll show you how you can kind of do that if you stick with me in this video. The most important thing, though, to remember that when you want to go ahead and combine books, the students have to be in the same size book. So it may be that when you're giving it the directions, you might just want to have all students just work in the square one-to-one comic, or just the square one-to-one, and have them do that, and then we'll be able to have that be them combined. Or you combine books by type and see what that looks like. So in here, you can see that this is basically the new book is going to take you down to there. And when you go in and add features into this, I just want to kind of highlight and have this as a resource for you, but I'm going to jump back into the app Book Creator so I can show you in real time what these look like when they're expanded. But you basically have 3 features on your toolbar. And the first one is media. And this is where I'm going to add. So I can import files from my drive from my computer. I can have things from my camera. So if I'm with a laptop or a Chromebook, I can use the camera to make pictures and videos. I have the pen tool, so I can use it as a drawing format. So if you have, like, let's say a math and you want students to work out an equation, you could have a whiteboard and have students work there. I have the text feature, and then I also have the record feature. And so when you look and hit that microphone, that will set a little audio recording, and that's how you kind of create that. The I stands for inspector, and the inspector is the one that it will basically, when you add this media, and you can add media and you can also add shapes. When you move and you have whatever it is you're working in, whether it's a text box, whether it's an image, and you have it highlighted, you will be able to use the I toolbar as an inspector to change color, text size, move things in the front and the back. So that's where it really kind of gives you a lot of power. And then this play button is the read feature. And so when you hit that, you can share it to your classroom, you can share it on Twitter, you can embed it, and you can print it. You'll also see, again, too, with those settings, once again, this is where you can set the language where you might want to have it read. They also have an auto draw tool, which is really pretty fun. The kids, once they discover that, they'll be able to go and just play with that for hours. And so that's a pretty fun tool, and I'll show you what that looks like. But it will basically recognize what you're drawing, and then it will go, did you mean this? And they kind of have a polished version of that. And you can set your stylus to a lot of different kind of things. And then the other feature that I'm going to show you when we're in the app is how you manage your library, and where you go ahead and do that and name things, put your name as an author, title it, how you can import books. So you can bring books in. So that's where you also too with managing a library, you can download it as an ebook. You could then delete it and have it stored on your drive. And then later when you're kind of ready to kind of bring it back out, put it up into your library again. You can import it. You can move it to different libraries. And this is where I probably just move things more from my Sandbox, my library to my Ellen library. You can copy the book, combine books and delete them. And you do that by that little stack of books. When you hit the share button, this is the one where you can publish things online. You can download it as an ebook and you can print it. So a download as an ebook makes it into a file and you'll want to store that in your drive. Publish it as an ebook or online, you'll have a link that you can go ahead and share that. So let's go on back and I'm going to go ahead and these are kind of the different paid versions, but know that in your free version, you have 40 books in your library. So I'm going to go back to my library and I'm going to go ahead and show you some different features real quick that I have kind of outlined for you. And you can see that I have my library shelf. If I want to click this button over here next to my picture, I can go ahead and I can make it so that you can kind of see all my books on like a library shelf. You can also see here that you can see that this is published online and that I have 13 books and I can show you, oops, I wanted to show you all the people that I have on my books. So I have a wide variety of folks on my library. The little more button means I could promote one of my authors as a co-teacher. And so that just gives them some ability to combine books and be able to read things and this other kind of stuff. But this is where you're going to go ahead. If you want to invite other people to your library and you want to figure out how to do that, you will just go with and have that code and share that code, copy and paste that code. What else can I show you on this? So those I've gone through these. So let's go to my new book. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my new book. And I have that selection that I can choose anything. The difference between that is whether or not you get panels. So if you might want to go, when is too many things, and you want to keep it simple, you might just want to stay to the top shelf. But let's go back down here into the square because I really like this. So what I do is I have a blank piece of cover and I want to add a couple images. If I want to go ahead and make a panel, I go ahead and let's say I want to go ahead there. It's going to go ahead and create that. When I go here, I can add in an image or I can take a picture. If I take a picture, I can just take a picture of me right now so that you can kind of see me in all my glory. And I'm going to use, ooh, now let's see something better. All right, let's try that picture. Let's use that one. And so you can see that it's going to go ahead and upload that picture into that box there. If I want to go ahead and move it a little bit, I can kind of go in and move it. And you can kind of see there. I can also change the size of it if I want. And that's where I have my blue kind of things. So anyway, so you can kind of go ahead and do that. If you don't like it, just go ahead and do a 2-finger on your, a right click or 2 fingers on your trackpad, and I can just go ahead and cut it. It's not cutting it, but that's how you do it. Oh, there it is. So it's cut. It just took a little bit of time. So if I want to go ahead and add a picture, I just can go ahead and if I have something in a file, if I have something in my drive, if I want to just go ahead and go grocery. I don't know about you, but when you go to the grocery store, it's a little frightening, isn't it? So anyway, it'll go ahead and upload and you've got a little picture there. So again, in this, when you click on it, there's a couple things that it's locked right now. If you do a 2-finger or a right click, you'll get these toolbars where you can kind of go ahead and unlock it. And that way, if you wanted to unlock it, you can go ahead and make this bigger or however you want, but I'm gonna go ahead and lock that back. The other thing that I can kind of do on this is that I want to kind of go ahead and put my name, right? So I'm going to go ahead and let's say I want to create a speech bubble. I'm going to say title of my book is Grocery Shopping Age of COVID-19. Okay, so I can go ahead and do that. If I want to have that highlighted, I can go to the inspector and I can change my border color. I can go ahead and make my border bigger by this little sidebar. I can do text settings where I go ahead and I can change my font. I can go ahead and just change the color of it. So there's just tons of things. The students will just take off with this. They will be able to kind of play around and all that. Now, when I don't have anything copied and I want to go ahead and change my page, I can go ahead and I can look at different paper, different borders and patterns, textures. Let's say I want to go ahead and put that in. I can go ahead and change the background of that picture. So then when nothing is highlighted, you'll change that. So I've got my little thing. I might come back and put in another picture on this one, but let me just go ahead that when I want to add a page, I'll go ahead and click on that right. And I'm going to go ahead now and add in, let's say I want to go ahead and add media. I'm going to go ahead and look at drawing something. Let me go ahead and do the auto draw, and let me go ahead and draw. Let's see if I can go ahead. It's going, and you can see up here, it's got some different things. Let's see if it sees. Ah, here we go. So I've got this so that it's coming in as watermelon, and so it automatically kind of goes ahead and finds that. If I want to go ahead and change the color of that, I can have that be all sparkly. And once I'm done with it, I go ahead and I click on this X at the top right, and I go ahead and click done, and now that's going to be on my page. And I can say, I am looking for, so here I go and I'm looking for watermelon. I can make that bold. I can link this to something. So if I have maybe a grocery store or a little story about watermelon or something, you can highlight that and you can add a link to it. So it'll go ahead and have a web page. It'll also link it to another page in your book. You can make it italics. Go ahead, if I want to go ahead and say I want to record on this, and so I can do basically voice to text. So if I go here and I'm going, to look for watermelon at Kroger's today. You can see that that is just going to go ahead and keep typing everything that I'm saying, which is really pretty impressive. I go ahead and click done. And so there that is, that's in there. And I'm like going, but I don't really like that font. All right, so I can go ahead and since it's attached, go to the inspector. I can go here, I can have it change the justification on it. I can change the size of it. I can change what it looks like. So you'll have all those tools. Remember, media adds things. And so you can go ahead, if I want to add in a recording, This is where I am now. I'm going to go ahead and start my recording and saying watermelon is one of my favorite foods, and I am so hoping for the summer because maybe this terrible disease will be over by then. Stop my recording. I'm going to go ahead. I can play it, and then if I want to go ahead and use it, it uploads it, and there it is there. When I want to go ahead and add a transcript to this, I go ahead to my eye or the inspector, I have it highlighted, and I just go ahead and say add a transcript. I'm going to just say I could generate it in a different language, so if I needed to translate this, I could, but I'm going to go ahead and keep that in English and generate automatically, and that's all it takes to go ahead and create that. So when you're in your pages, I'm going to go ahead and slip out of this and show you another book I have in my library. I just want to show you as a template. So there's my MalQuest. If you want any of these books, oh, you know what I'm going to go back and do? Let me show you how I do this. Right now, this is just titled a new book. If I want to go ahead and say new adventures at the grocery, and it's by me. If I want to go ahead and change that, I can just hover over that and change it, but that's how you change your library, change your titles of your book. Let me go ahead and I want to look through this, and I'm going to show you how you can create a template in this, and also how you can use this as a way to kind of collaborate, because with COVID-19, Book Creator is letting you collaborate in real time with students. So I have my book. I'm going to go ahead and hit edit, and if you want to just copy this book, you can get in my library, copy the book, and move it to your library. Okay, so if you wanted to do that, you could. If you move it out of my library by mistake and into yours, I go ahead and move, I can move it within book libraries that I've gone ahead and joined. But I would make a copy of it and just go ahead and use it. Or if you need something, just give me an email on that. But when I edit this, you can see that I have my pages, and when I click on pages, it's going to give me all my layout here. So if I wanted to go ahead and add a page in here, I could insert a page. If I want to delete that page, I can. If I want to make a copy of a page, and let's say I want to copy this page, it's going to automatically make another copy of it. So that's a pretty fun feature. If I want to move this, I can just click and hold and move it around. But what I've done in this book is I've made a table of contents, and this is going to be kind of like a recipe book. And maybe since we're all home and we've got kitchens and we have things to do, there's lots of learning that can be happening with around cooking. And so, and I think it's a good activity to do together so that people are kind of staying with acts of kindness. It's just great. Yesterday I went and delivered some cookies to my neighbors. I know they have a house full of kiddos, and it was just kind of like, I felt I was a cookie bomber, you know, kind of a little special treat. But you can see that I've inserted a picture here. What should I bake? And I've just taken a picture of a recipe from a book. And so kids could kind of go ahead and do that. Then what I've thought might be kind of fun is I've given basically some directions for kids to pick out their favorite chocolate chip cookie recipe. In here, they would edit it and they would put in all their ingredients. In this, they would write all their directions. And on this, they could add a picture of them getting ready and while they're baking it. And this one could be a picture of them when they're eating it. And so I kind of gave that. So anyway, again, this is kind of a thing where students could have their own pages to kind of work on and do. And so anyway, this is something that you can share and have with your students. Let's go on back. And so just know that with the free version, you get 40 books, you get your library and a shared library. You can join as many other libraries as you want. So if you have other teachers at your school or some other folks that, you know, whether it's your sister-in-law or brother-in-law who is also a teacher, and you both could kind of share different books there. But they are running a lot of specials. And for me, this is just such a powerful tool. So with COVID-19, they are allowing you to collaborate. And so like I showed you on that recipe book, you would go to your library, you would go down here to the share, you would have basically a book that you have identified, and you would go ahead and click on collaboration. You will know that that's a book that students can collaborate with one another on, so they can be in the book at the same time by seeing that little collaboration sign there. Okay, so what another really great collaboration tool that I created, and if you click on this link, it's going to take you to a book. This is something I worked with at Tollgate Elementary in Pickerington, Ohio. They do wit and wisdom, and so it's all about myths. And so what we did, you can kind of see, is that this was my master book. I copied this book 6 times because we had 6 different groups with 4 students in it. I embedded basically different kinds of links and just some overview stuff in their book. And what we did is for each team, we organized 6 authoring groups, and they decided as an author what pages they would do. So each student was assigned their own pages, so that pages 4 and 5 was Joe, page 6 and 7 was Mindy. They basically were doing the same thing, but they were able to kind of collaborate. We did this with a special, with the inclusion class, as well as with the gifted class with the same teacher. The students who did the best was the inclusion kids. They just really loved the tools, and it really helped them focus on what myths meant. So it was really just a phenomenal activity for us. So again, I have some more drop-in today, drafting ebook templates for those of you still hanging with me. This, if you click here, you can see that I have done quite a few presentations and a lot of work on the writing process. So if you're looking for more graphic organizers, these are either in drawing or in slides that you can copy into your drive, and you could add these as classroom materials, as resources into your Google Classroom, and kind of help kids build out what it is they're eventually going to publish into Book Creator. Here is a story template. So you click on this and you'll get a 6-panel story where they can bring in images or draw, and basically do a little bit of pre-writing underneath each one of those. I also have some story starter choice board for you. So on this, when you click on this, I'm giving you kind of some ideas on how the different kinds of books you could use in Book Creator. And so this is Google Slides. You could copy one of these slides and make it into a new Google slide file, and you upload them one at a time. You could upload this whole thing as an assignment where kids make a copy. You could make it just a view only, where the kids are kind of seeing these different things on what they could use for that. So that's another idea that you could just drop in and use and have the kids work on for the next few days. I could imagine it might even be something that would be fun to work over the next couple of weeks if you wanted. For those of you who want something a little bit more intricate, I have, if you are a choice board, I've kind of have this one linked where you might have students who are in higher grades, and you can see I have hyperlinks that are giving them different ideas on how to use that. So that's kind of an example for upper grades. Here's one too that I kind of wanted to kind of share with you, that this might be something you might want to work with students over a period of time, and then eventually bring them into Book Creator if they work on this. But this would be a healthy lifestyle advocate. So if you click on this, you can get just the slides itself, but you're going to be able to see that how what I've kind of done is mapped out some choice where if the kids click on one of these characters, all right, it is going to take them. So if I go here, you can see that I have a basic template where the students are reading something. I've used something pretty much from Wonderopolis, which I really love, and that's just a fun thing. I've added a YouTube video on this topic. I've put in a graphic organizer for this. So if you go ahead and make all these, copy all of these graphic organizers and things into your drive, you'll be able to upload them into your Google Classroom. Don't put my copy in because it won't load. You have to be the owner of it. And so just go to File. Oh, we'll go ahead and when I get out of this, I'll show you how to make that. But what they've done is they basically have a role. They're going to be an advocate. And so in their role as an advocate, they can create an ebook using all the information that they've kind of built up and done. So I have where they're going to go ahead and start a garden, kind of like a victory garden. And that would be a great activity to get kids doing in the next few weeks as they're home. And then also eggs. Are just an incredible food, and so having them develop a recipe book or a how-to guide on using eggs would be really kind of fun. So again, this link is provided by Book Creator. It has a wealth of ideas for you as a teacher and videos for you to use. So feel free to use that to get some more ideas. I've also added here also other resource links. This is going to take you to the resources for teachers so you can see that they have things by grade levels, by subjects. Also, too, they have examples of ebooks that they've already created that you can kind of use inside as kind of ideas for you. So I have things linked here. I've also included the Book Creator playlist for you. And just remember, you've got this. You can do this. This is a link to my Book Creator website that I have a lot of other resources on. So if you need something else, I've given that to you. And I just want to appreciate how much you guys have stuck with me. I know this is probably a little bit longer, but it's such a powerful tool. And I really wanted to give you some templates and some ideas for that. We're going to be having office hours each day, and I am going to be from 9 to 10 on Mondays and Wednesdays available. So if you would like to have a little more one-on-one time or some coaching, feel free to do that. But for your PD code, put in BKeyCR. And thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy using Book Creator. It's really fun. And I think you'll have a powerful way to collaborate with your students while we are all enduring this crisis together. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.